Hello, dearest ones. Once again, the channel Peter almost goes speechless when he connects with your energy and opens up his channel to his sacred higher self. This is the state of bliss we wish to talk to you about. The state of bliss that you can be in all the time. You just don't know it yet. So before we proceed, though, please take a moment to just realize how spectacular and magnificent you are. Because that's what we see, that's what we feel when we record these videos. And the more you see it and the more you feel it, the more the world around you becomes it. So thank you for your place. Thank you for the beautiful essence that you are in this very moment, regardless of what you may be thinking or feeling. The channel Peter has been pondering yardsticks, how to measure the change that's taking place as we move into 5D. He works with many clients who are asking, how do I know it? How do I feel it? What's it like? And we're here to tell you today, you need a new yardstick. You really can't measure the awesome magnificence and mystery of the unknown by what you already know. Because as soon as you measure it by what you already know, you drag it back to the known realm and it loses the mystery and awesomeness. This is why we've done many videos telling you, be careful about the story you tell. You keep telling the story about the reality you're unhappy with, and boom, there you are. That becomes your measuring stick. So how do you measure what you don't know? That's what we'd like to speak about today. Mystery and wonder have literally been beaten out of us for how many generations? Through most of recorded history, the great thinkers, the great imaginers, the great artists were persecuted for whatever reason, morality, politics. They were shut down because they were tapping into the unknown. And now we live in a society where our water is fluorinated and our pineal glands are calcified. And from the very early age, we're given media stories about the mundane and how success is all in the mundane. And when we do get to the mystery, we color it with horror in our culture. They're all horror stories when you go into the unknown. Many, many people, when they connect to spirit, go, oh, there's bad spirits out there. And then they worry about it. And of course, they're worried about it and they connect to what's bad because that's the power of our creation. The channel Peter doesn't really put up protection when he goes into a state because he knows his vibration is resonating with that which is beauty, with that which is love. And because it resonates with that which is beauty and love, nothing else can come in. So it's not a matter of protecting yourself. That still keeps you in the fear mode and then creates more of what you're afraid of. It's a matter of embracing that you are indeed magnificent and beautiful. You just don't believe it yet because you don't have the measuring stick, because you've been using the measuring stick that's been handed to you by those who've been controlling for generations on our planet. So how do we get to the unknown? One thing you can try is imagining. And you can do this imagining while you're in meditation. And it works better if you're with a group. And after you have your meditations, you each share what you got so you can expand each other's imagination by going, oh, you saw that. Oh, you saw this. And you very simply get quiet and ask Spirit, please give me an experience of the unknown. Please let me know the magnificence that is in 5D. Just give me a taste, whatever that's like. And as you practice that, maybe before you go to bed, when you're relaxed, ask for a dream about it. Maybe when you're sitting in your morning meditation, say, wow, today something unknown's going to happen and I'm excited about it. Or as we suggested, sitting with a circle of your friends and asking them to all just go into the state of let source fill you, and then be inspired with this imagination. Now, here's the key. Don't tell stories about it that judge it against what you already know. If you're stuck in the measuring stick of 5D, then that's still, or excuse me, the measuring stick of 3D, then that's still where you're going to have your experience. So this is kind of interesting. We asked you a moment ago to share your experiences, but to not share it in a way that keeps it limited. How do you do that? Well, consider for a moment what happened in the meditation group that the channel Peter participates in when they broached this very topic. One person said, it was like all of this was unimaginable. We were living in a world where people just excelled naturally, where they were just happy naturally. They were just blissful naturally. And when problems came up, they didn't see it as a problem. They saw it as a challenge. Oh, good. Here's a test of my skill. Let me master this. So there was no negativity. And then this person said, it was like we couldn't even imagine any other place than living in a world where everything flowed and there was grace and ease and joy. Now turn that on its head for a moment. Many people can't imagine what I just spoke. That there is a possibility of a world with ease and joy where everything flows. They're like, oh, but what about this and problems and bills and 3D stuff? You see, the imagination's limited because we can't even imagine it could be that easy and free because we've been so trained with our measuring sticks, our yardsticks of what it's supposed to be like. What's that old thing they tell you? Two things always happen, death and taxes. Of course, you're an immortal soul, and taxes just means you consent to being governed and give your power away. That's all that means. When you stop consenting and realize you're immortal, then those are not fixed truths anymore. So consider these limitations as they come up. When you can't imagine these things, take a look at what you do imagine instead. Oh, the worry, the fear, the suffering. And then, as we've said many, many times, clear, 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 clear. Because if you have those attachments, then those are the blocked energies in you that attract that vibration. And many people have reported to the channel Peter in sessions he's worked with them. What do you mean when you say in your videos, clear, 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 clear? Well, we encourage you to speak with him, have a session so you can go over that in detail. But in general, what we're saying is there's a trapped, blocked energy. And you have to allow that energy to expand fully. Love it, let it be okay, and then it will naturally dissipate. Then you replace it with greater, more expansive energies like love, your natural state. What do you mean? Allow it to expand. Well, the joke that Channel Peter uses in his sessions is if you go to a memory and it's painful and it feels like there's a dagger in your heart, grab it by the hilt and push the dagger in deeper. What? Yes, to be clear of these things that we no longer wish of, we have to be clear of them. That means they have to do their natural cycle and finish. It doesn't mean you're going to die from a dagger in your heart. It means you're going to have a moment of pain, and it could be as quick as just a moment if you do not block it and let it go through your entire body and weep it or cry it or shake it out. Then the energy is done. Then you connect right to source again. You go, oh boy, I've been blocked from you because I've been holding this. That in essence, in a nutshell, is how the clearing process works. And again, there's many tools and methods on this website that the channel has to help you. And most of them are free. And you don't have to use those. There's many, many paths to do this. Find the one that's right for you. The point is, do it. Commit to feeling what keeps you from experiencing the unknown, the unimaginable. And then you'll have a new yardstick because you're no longer attached to the energetic, the mental cycle going on in your head that tells you what can and can't be. And you eventually will become to the place where you can't imagine these bad things would happen that have been happening in 3D, because that timeline will no longer exist when you're fully in the 5D timeline. It will be gone because you've made that full transition. This is just the sticky time where you're moving from one place to another place and you're not certain where you're going. The analogy that's been used many times is you're like playing as a child on a jungle gym and you're flying through the air as you grab bar and bar and bar and you move through the air and you let go one bar and you haven't grabbed the next bar yet. You're flying in midair. But because you're a child and you've got your momentum up, you know you're fine and safe and you just go there. Now you're going to have to trust that you're still a child and you're still fine and you're still safe and you're going to go there because you've got the momentum. You wouldn't have that momentum if you weren't listening to this video. You wouldn't have the potential to imagine a world where it's always been loving and kind and energetic, where we manifest instantly and our needs are satisfied and our desires are met because we are children of God and we express our godness in these realities. So you're going to go there. So here's a little game you can play to help you. In addition to our suggestion that you focus on it, you ask for that experience either in your dreams or when you're awake, or best when you meditate as a group. Here's a game to play. Can you see all the people that you thought were a problem? Can you see them awake and in 5D and bright and shiny and loving and happy? All the people that you said were asleep and holding us back. All the people who you've been judging as committing negative things. All your family members who have been harassing you because you've been seeing things they're afraid of and can't imagine yet because they don't have a yardstick yet. Can you see those family members, those society members around you as already there, awakened? It's not just see the God in them, see them as God already there. That will shift you into fifth dimension reality quicker than anything else you can imagine. Now, can you take it a step further? We've counseled to just turn off the mass media, to stop playing the negative game, waiting for the white hats to save us or the ETs to land. We've been counseling that you find that within you because that's where it is and that's where it's got to be for the planet to have it. It's within you. But some still choose to play that game of opposition. Oh, I got to fight against these bad people, or this is my freedom, or I'm a patriot, or whatever you use to keep yourself in opposition, which means the other side wins because the negative energy is flowing and that's their whole plan. So we urge you to just turn that off, right? And for those of you who are considering turning it off or have not turned it off yet, can you see those bad actors in 5D? Yes, the evil reptilians that you believe are shapeshifters that are causing all these problems. Can you see them on your planet walking around with joy, with a glint in their eye because they're connected to source and they are in 5D with you and they are sending you these blessings just like you send your blessing to them? And it's one big happy party. Yes, can you do that with the person you hate the most? What? And I'm not asking you to turn the other cheek. No, 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 no. Stand up proud. Don't let anybody hit you. But I am asking you to understand that it is you holding the mentality, the yardstick of that there is a division, that there's good and bad, and I'm on the good side and they're on the bad side, and therefore they're evil. That is you holding that measuring stick that creates this duality, that feeds that energy, that keeps us in the 3D and the suffering that we choose, that we would rather choose not to have. Because many of you, by doing this unconsciously, are choosing to have that negativity. You don't slay the dragon by cutting off its head. You slay the dragon by loving it. Just like we told you, when you clear, you find those blockages within you, those memories, those emotions, those triggers, and you let them express fully and completely. And then you just naturally find the love. Source fills that space that's been blocked with love. Now you do this externally as well by seeing everyone around you, including those you believe are the negative leaders. It's not a matter of holding them accountable in justice. And this is making the channel Peter cringe when we say this, because for so long he's always wanted to see these people go on trial and be held up accountable. And now here it is. Oh, you just love them and they fade away. And it's not just they fade away. You move into a different timeline. You loop into a timeline where they no longer exist. And that's what we talked about earlier. We said, can you imagine where that's not even possible? Because it's never happened. Because it's always been light and love and grace, because we're in that 5D reality. Talk about a mind twist. But that's the most powerful way to get there, because you are the powerful generator. You create your timeline. You create your experience. We're trying to tell you in all these messages how powerful you are. Now we're going to give you the truth that you may or may not wish to hear, is that your power is what's creating what you're in opposition to. So acknowledge how powerful you are and love those creations of yours. And then find a new yardstick. Ask for the experiences of the unknown. And when they come in, don't try to box them and put them back and explain them. And this psychologist says, or this theorist says, or reminds me of this when I was 12, or blah, 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 blah. It just keeps you stuck in what you already know. You're moving to the unknown. Let it happen and go, wow, I just had this experience. I don't have words for it yet. So I'm just going to let it percolate. But it was cool. You know, they were colors, they were lights. And then as you become proficient in moving around in 5D, you'll have the vocabulary for it. And then you'll have that as your natural creation. And that's how it will always have been. And you won't even remember the other part, because you're in a new timeline where it did not exist. That's how we move to the reality we want. That's how we make the shift. That's how we make what some people call the bifurcation, where the harvest or the reap or the rapture takes place and you move in to this divine state. And here's the trick. You don't move in alone, because you're bringing everybody with you, because you're seeing them as divine entities as well. And that creates the oneness, and that creates the field, and that creates your beautiful reality. We love you so much. We can't help but love you. Channel Peter gets all giddy when he goes into these states and makes these messages. And then he can turn around curmudgeon-y and get all complainy later and then go, what? I'm out of that state. And we just laugh, because he knows he can come back into it. His wife has been telling him, can you be more of that guy who you are when you're channeling these messages, huh? So that's his practice. And that's how he's becoming. And it's actually taking place. He's noticing it more and more, where there's no division between him and his sacred higher self. And so what comes out of him is just gentle and loving. And sometimes he's aware that what's coming out of him is gentle and loving. And he's like, wow, why did that come out of me? Usually I want to smack this person. But that's because he's been putting himself in these states. And it naturally follows that he can no longer judge the other people around him, and just see them as magnificent souls, as part of that 5D reality that's coming with him and everybody else, and bringing the whole planet. Because this is what is going to shift the whole planet. When enough of us see everybody, including the opposition there, then it will happen. And you're saying, but there's these outside things that still haven't changed. That's still the old yardstick. That's still the old measuring stick that keeps you from being there. Once it happens internally, you feel it and you acknowledge it. And you may not be aware that this other stuff is out there floating around, and it's still making things think, oh, I'm uncomfortable about this or that 3D thing. But then you go, oh, but internally I'm feeling this connection. And that grows bigger and bigger until it's solid. And then miracles happen. Money shows up. Things go into flow, because you allow it. You've cleared your blockages and you've done your work. So yes, there's going to be less and less separation for you and your sacred source. We call it the sacred higher self, when in reality, it's just the spark of God. Yes. No more priests or any barriers in between you and divinity. No more. It's you now. When you accept that, you'll see that in others. And when you start to stop the division because you stop the measuring sticks of what mattered, well, this was right and this was wrong, and this is the moral philosophy I've lived my whole life on, and it's got honor and blah, 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 blah. When you stop that, then you're out of that dimension. You're out of that yardstick of measuring that keeps you in 3D. And you move into the grace and expansion of who you are, who the galaxy is, and everything you dream to be. This is your beautiful path. Thank you for being brave enough and courageous enough to take it, because you taking it means you bring everybody else with you. You feel like you need to do something to help change the world? We just gave you some instructions on what you could possibly do. Many, many blessings to you. This is Peter D. Thank you so much for your support. We're all doing our best to help humanity ascend. Please like this video and subscribe to this channel so YouTube will place these messages where more people can see them. And of course, you can always check the links below if you'd like to book a channeled spiritual coaching session or make a donation. Much appreciation.